Afternoon. We are here continue where we left from. Question is administrative run process. EPAM 22. Today we are starting a new topic called delegated legislation. And primarily we shall look at its definition and reasons for delegated legislation. And that we are still on introduction to law and administrative processes. So we are going to look at what is delegated legislation, and then we shall also look at reasons for delegated legislation. Delegated legislation comes about when rules or laws have been enacted by bodies or authorities other than Parliament as a result of the powers conferred on such bodies or authorities by Parliament. Therefore, Parliament has a mandate to delegate its authority of enacting laws, other bodies and authorities. Parliament is the lawmaking body as mandated by the Constitution under Article 79, Section 1. But Parliament cannot enact each and every law in Uganda. Therefore, it is given by the mandate. It is given authority and mandated by the same Constitution under Article 79, Section 2 to delegate to the lower bodies and authorities. And delegated legislation is also known as indirect legislation, secondary legislation, and subsidiary legislation. Among indirect legislation or delegated legislation include bylaws, which are enacted by sub-county and town councils. Then ordinances, which are enacted by district councils, statutory instruments, which are issued by ministers, declarations, orders, and regulations. These are examples of delegated legislation. And I've said delegated legislation, it includes laws which have been enacted by bodies, authorities other than Parliament. But it is Parliament that mandates those bodies and authorities to enact laws on her own behalf under Article 79, Section 2 of the Constitution. And examples include bylaws, ordinances, statutory instruments, declarations, orders, and regulations. Therefore, having known the meaning of delegated legislation, our concern today is it important? So let us look at the reasons for delegated legislation. Why should Parliament delegate its lawmaking function? Yet Parliament is the sole legislator. But how comes it delegates other bodies and authorities to enact laws on her behalf? Let us look at the first reason why Parliament does that. Lack of sufficient time by Parliament. Parliament does not have enough time to legislate on or make laws in the country on all matters and for all components of social life, including laws to regulate markets, to regulate markets, construction of toilets in rural areas, fighting against the banana root disease. By delegating its powers, Parliament can save a lot of time and concentrate on other pressing matters. Therefore, Parliament does not have enough time. That makes it ideal for Parliament to delegate to the bodies and authorities under Article 79, Section 2. Another reason, urgency of the subject matter. The procedure of enacting laws is very lengthy. There are steps for first reading, second reading, then from second reading, committee stage, from committee stage to reporting stage, then from reporting, the bill now goes back to Parliament for debate, then from debate the bill is taken to the president so that he can assent and sign. So it is very lengthy. And some matters may be so urgent that they cannot wait until Parliament sits and enacts the required law. E.g., if smallpox broke out in a district, the minister responsible can pass a bylaw or a direction to control the movement of people, even COVID right now, without waiting for the next sitting of Parliament. And at times you see Parliament is on recess. It therefore becomes ideal for delegated legislation to come in. Thus the necessity for delegated legislation. Number 3, technicality of the subject matter is another reason for delegated legislation. The legislation may be technical, which requires expert knowledge that Parliament may lack. Our Ugandan Parliament, it has very few technical experts, for instance, engineers, doctors, lawyers. So such a problem can be solved by delegating to the relevant minister to make such a law. For instance, the law regulating doctors' hospital behavior, conduct of lawyers, accountants, engineers. Most of our MPs are not highly educated. We have a few MPs who are technical experts. Therefore, it becomes necessary to rely on delegated legislation. Another point, Parliament inflexibility. The procedures of Parliament must be followed every time a law is enacted. These procedures are inflexible. There may, however, arise a situation which requires suspension of the operation of a certain repeal or amendment of a law, whereby this can only be effected by Parliament delegating some powers to repeal, amend, or withdraw legislation to the subordinate bodies of ministers. Another reason for delegated legislation is that primary legislation, which is primary is where Parliament itself makes laws, is very expensive compared to delegated legislation. Because our members of Parliament are highly remunerated, they get a lot of money. On top of that, they get a lot of bonuses and as incentives. It therefore becomes necessary to rely on delegated legislation to save the taxpayers' money. Another reason for delegated legislation is that delegated legislation allows the authorities and the bodies to consult the stakeholders, because the delegated authorities have enough time to consult the stakeholders, which lessens opposition after a bylaw or an ordinance has been passed. And unlike Parliament, which does not have enough time to consult the stakeholders. Another reason for delegated legislation is that it is ideal in times of emergencies, like in times of floods, diseases, outbreak of diseases. It becomes so bureaucratic to rely on Parliament, which is bureaucratic and also costly. It is better to apply delegated legislation. Otherwise, members, next time we shall continue and look at the process of enacting a bill into an act of Parliament. How a bill becomes an act of Parliament, because a bill is a proposed law, and once it has been approved by Parliament and assented to by the President, it becomes an act of Parliament. That will make our lecture next time. I wish you the best. God bless.